So Andrew here from IT Mooti. I've just done a little demonstration of this question regarding updating one field to another field. The way that I've demonstrated this is having letters from the alphabet, 26, and 26 numbers. So basically, if you change this, for example, to 1, it'll then update the alphabet to A. To see the change, just need to do a refresh of the screen. And I'm using Zapier for this. So if you were to do this in Ontraport, to do it 2 ways, it would take a little bit of time to write all those rules. Now if I change this one to G, so that's also, it goes both ways basically, so it'll always keep these fields in sync. So I don't know what this could be used for, but I'm just showing that it's possible. So G is 7 and etc. So it's actually quite simple. All I've got is 2 rules in Ontraport that send a webhook. The rules look like this. So under rules, we've got update field to number and update number to alphabet. So basically one updates the other one updates the other one. They're the 2 rules that I've got. And then inside the rule, the trigger is simply that alphabet is updated, and then I'm sending the ping URL to Zapier. They're both the exact same Zap. I'm only using one Zap in Zapier for all of this. And then the post data is the value from field A, the contact ID, the field ID of A, which obviously when we're going alphabet to number, this is alphabet ID. When we're going from number to alphabet, this would be numbers ID. And then I've also sent my API credentials. You don't have to do that. You can just put that in. I just find it easier to put it in the rule. So that's what the rule looks like. That's it. Anytime I want to do this with another field or another 2 fields, all I would need to do is copy this rule and update the values. So if I wanted to make price 1, if that was a drop down field, update price 2, then I could do the same thing just using this same Zap. Now the reason why I can use the same Zap is because I use a spreadsheet that has field mapping in it. So the smarts are really in this spreadsheet. So anytime that this field updates with this value, then correlate to this information here. This value correlates to this, which is this field's value here. And because we've got this correlation set up, that's why we are able to just use one single Zap for the whole lot. So here there's 52 different options that could possibly happen, but this could be hundreds of options, this could be thousands of options, it doesn't really matter, but each one just needs to be listed in here. And it's really easy to list them, but once they're done, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So then in Zapier, what we've got is we catch the hook. So the hook comes in and looks like, just grab another sample, looks like this. Got the contact ID, the field ID, API credentials, and the field value. So that was when I updated to 7. Next, we look up the spreadsheet. So I've got my spreadsheet locked in here. I'm looking up the value column. So the value column is column A, and that's it. I've got a supporting value, which is column B, because I want to also get the field ID that I'm sending in the webhook. And that's what allows me to really go backwards and forwards on multiple different types of fields. And then there's just a simple custom request, which is a put to the contacts with this JSON, which I'm just getting from the API. It's really, all I'm doing is grabbing this from the API and then just changing the values. So it's easy to do if you, just grab this. I'll just show you what I mean by that, because it can be a little bit daunting if you're new to this. So if I just want to update these 2 fields, with certain values. I'll just remove this one. I can click try it out. And then Ontraport API just gives me what I need, which is this here. So basically it's from here to here you copy after the attributes. But I don't need DLM, so I'll remove that one. But all we're doing is grabbing that and then pasting it into Zapier in the data on a custom request. I'm removing that one because I don't need that one in there. And then all I've done is made these dynamic. So instead of having that be a static field ID, I'm grabbing that field ID from my spreadsheet for field A, right? And then the value of field A is here. Field B, and then the value of field B. And then also the contact ID doesn't need to be hard-coded either, because that's in the hook that we've caught. So that's the simple bit of data that needs to be sent through. Got our headers in there. The headers here, again, can be dynamic based on what I'm sending through. The reason why this is good for this to be dynamic is more if you're managing multiple accounts, because I could use, if I'm sending through the headers, I can use the same spreadsheet and the same Zap for multiple people, as long as I know which ID is working. And I would also need to pass probably one more value for the customer in there as well, just so I can identify them. But that's basically it. So this takes, a little bit of time to set up, and you need to know a little bit about how to use Ontraport's API, but it's really simple. And now what I have is the ability with one Zap and 2 rules to change any contact from one field to the other. So this is just my sandbox account with dummy data in it. But if I go down to this contact here, and where is it? Alphabet. Okay, I'll change that to D, and should be number 4. And there it is. Or I can change this to number 5, and that'll be E. Now, one thing to mention here is that each time each of these fields run, it will actually update the field. So when 5 changes alphabet to E, E will then also send that back to Zapier. But the thing is, it's sending back the same values. So it's not going to just keep going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. It's only going to send it twice. So if I send this as F, this will update to 6, which will then send a second Zap, but it's updating both of them to F and 6. So it's just something to note. I could put a filter in for that, but it doesn't bother me too much that I'm getting those 2 coming through. And that's it. So just a little bit of a little trick there on updating fields in Ontraport with Zapier.